matter if you're in Japan, do what works for you.
And there are so many stress management techniques, of course. And here we are, 2v2. And here we are, 2v2.
2v2, game 1.
And we're into game number 1 of 2v2. Beniju and Cuchii Cuu at the top of your screen. Big Daddy and July for Kingzone Dragon X at the bottom of your screen. And just to remind you guys, we can see the cards played, the elixir leaked, and how much health is on those towers combined.
And Dart Goblin to open up, met by the Mega Minion. And a little ha-ha there for July.
Yeah, very interesting, odd placement on that Dart Goblin, Rich.
You gotta wonder what the thought process was there, and now building from the back with the baby dragon on the right-hand side here for Team Queso.
Early poison coming in to clean up that tombstone makes me think they want to get to that tower with a big card quickly, whether it's a Royal Giant, maybe a Battle Ram.
Well, a slight difference here from our last 2v2 match is both teams making sure to get spell value and tower damage value from their spells very early.
Yeah, that was one of the things that was kind of, like you said, didn't really show up in that first match. Just a very aggressive kind of onslaught throughout the game. And as soon as you see the Giant Skeleton, obviously, and we talked about that tombstone going down early on, you got to think it's going to be Royal Giant.
And it is both Asia region teams running Giant Skeleton, Royal Giant early in this tournament.
And Rich, you talked to me a little bit about the mini P.E.K.K.A, didn't you? About before the game.
Yeah, the mini P.E.K.K.A does not really show up a lot in North America for 2v2 and didn't do a lot in Europe, but it's been very popular in the Asian region. And so here's kind of surprised to see it from Team Queso, not surprised to see it from Kingzone Dragon X.
Yeah, and that Inferno Dragon, not the way that they wanted it to go. I mean, that Inferno Tower, not the way they wanted to play. They needed to take out that Dart Goblin. The Dart Goblin still on the field, still getting so much value. You can't let those units like that stay on the board that long.
And finally the poison stops it, but too little too late, and now it's Queso's turn to go Royal Giant in the right-hand lane.
And there's that NATO, since it is not banned, taking that Royal Giant away from the tower, but it does still get a shot in.
Reminder, your bans are Electro, Dragon, and P.E.K.K.A. Not available for any of our potential 3 games here in this 2v2 set.
That Dart Goblin, I mean, a very high Giant Skeleton. Once again, that's a misplay right there. You want the Dart Goblin to cross the river and then the Giant Skeleton to pick it up.
So Giant Skeleton not going to get across the river as well. And that Lumberjack nearly escaped. Nice job, Royal Giant picking it up from Kingzone Dragon X.
Really, really nice Royal Giant there. Great spell value as well coming in for KZDX.
And here's where they like the mini P.E.K.K.A against these Royal Giants. An inexpensive response to that big card.
And then they got 2 mini P.E.K.K.As there on the field, it looked like.
The Royal Giant does a little damage, but not a ton, but we are pretty much neck and neck as we enter into sudden death overtime.
And you see here with KZDX, they definitely have a bit of an advantage in spell damage here with that lightning and the poison. On top of the screen there, you got 2 fireballs.
So we will see. I mean, we could be getting into a spell cycle situation, and that lightning is huge now, down to 647.
And we talked a lot about that early on in the season, Rich, and actually throughout the season. The team that recognizes that spell cycling is the way to go once they get below 1,000 HP, the first ones to start cycling those spells is usually the one to come out on top. And now you see all they need is a poison to come down and another lightning. They just need to make sure they conserve their elixir long enough and they're not caught wanting on defense.
And this Royal Giant, if it can get on tower, it could create some range for a spell cycle.
Oh, there it is.
Ready.
A
Queso.
huge play.
Second fireball in, and that should be it. Queso takes game number 1 from behind.
Wow, that spell cycle. I mean, we talked about it. Maybe KZ started to do that spell cycle just a little bit early on, not having the elixir. They needed right there to stop that with their lightning. Maybe a bit of a misplay. Actually, definitely a misplay.
Queso taking advantage and Stain Cuu sending out the kissy face, not the patented Cuchii Cuu goblin emote.
Yeah. Cuchii Cuu! Oh, and everyone's favorite free emote.
And making his first appearance here, so maybe also see possibly some E-barbs right behind that one.
And that Lumberjack coming in, trying to get on top of that Inferno Tower. Really nice play there from Team Queso, just kind of sneaking by.
And the Dark Goblin support there was huge as well, getting that tower down a little faster and helping an early lead come out here for Team Queso, but now they have so much coming down that right-hand lane to contend with.
And there's that high mini P.E.K.K.A to take care of the Giant Skeleton. Look at the order of operations in which Team Queso is playing that defense. That was perfection, Rich.
And well, that's communication, and you can see Beniju and Cuchii Cuu have been playing together so much. This is the 2v2 duo that the Queso believes might be the best in the world.
Which is fascinating because we only saw them once over in the EU region. They saved it all the way to playoffs, and they only played in the finals in EU because they had first and second round buys.
I mean, this is a wall right now so far from Team Queso. They are not letting much happen. Get on the board here for Kingzone Dragon X.
And I know it was a really simple interaction, but to those boys back in the replay booth who are doing a great job for us at the desk, that very first Inferno Tower that was played, I'd love to go back and just look at that small interaction. That Lumberjack came in, and that is the reason why half the tower is missing for Kingzone.
And this time you see the difference here, that Inferno Tower doing its job and stopping the Royal Giant push.
Because it's a 5 elixir card, Rich. You know, that's a very expensive card to kind of just throw away.
And here we go. So now it's Royal Giant, Giant Skeleton, and Lava Hound all together and doing a ton of damage on the right
shots.
side.
Everything is taking for that Royal Giant. What an incredible play there by Kingzone Dragon X.
What an incredible turn. As we go into double elixir time, suddenly it's Kingzone Dragon X in at a very important lead.
Lava Hounds tanking for Royal Giants is not something we saw a lot in the NA and EU regions, but working out very, very well here for Kingzone.
And this time opting not to pick up that Royal Giant with the Inferno Tower, just going with troops. And that for that, not a ton of damage here, so very nice discipline from Kingzone Dragon X.
And you saw those high mini P.E.K.K.As being played across the river by Kingzone to clean up all the support troops behind the Royal Giant and also come back and stab him in the back.
So here we are, 30 seconds left. The Lumberjack trying to get the tower quickly enough, and those guards doing a good job picking up. And here we go. This is the interaction. Can this Royal Giant get past this Inferno Tower and get damage on that right-hand side? No, it will not. Kingzone Dragon X coming from behind to take game number 2.
That is what it's all about. Best in the world, evening up 1-1 here in this very first set of match number 2. Kingzone Dragon X takes it from Team Queso.
We're going to game number 3, and you gotta love the mid-game adjustments from the Korean squad.
Yeah, and a little bit of BM there at the end. I don't know what it is about the Goblin emotes, but I believe that he is the most toxic of all the BMs.
Very possible. You know, I like the well played before it's over. Coming out early and a little laughter here. Those, man, Kingzone Dragon X might not be so outgoing in person, but they certainly love their fingers on those emotes.
I just feel like the Goblin's laughing at me every single time. Specifically, he's laughing at me.
Stop laughing at me, Goblin. And again, early poison value on that tower.
Yep, and zap value on the opposite.
And looks like maybe Kingzone Dragon X feeling pretty good about what happened last time.
You look at the top right hand of your screen, you see 3.3 elixir leaked from the player in Cuchii Cuu. And 3.6 in the bottom right. So those guys must be holding the heavier cards, maybe the more offensive cards. Or excuse me, defensive cards, playing response.
So here we are, baby dragons in both lanes and doing a fantastic job on defense in both sides here. It is Kingzone Dragon X with a slight lead as the first minute of play goes by, but just a slight lead, and now the first big push here on the left-hand lane.
Yep, and that is a great Inferno Tower to pull that Royal Giant, even with the lightning coming in. The distance there, really, really nice pull. That is the most perfect placement for where that Royal Giant was.
And that Inferno Tower mini P.E.K.K.A combination against Royal Giant is so hard to get past.
Yeah, and that zap actually was a really, really nice zap, making Team Queso commit even more elixir to that defense of the mini P.E.K.K.A.
You said Lumberjack sneak through just a little bit, get its rage spell down, and do a little bit of work there on those guards, and that's a huge play there, down to 1096.
Yeah, and only 7 elixir in the hands of Team Queso, but it doesn't matter. Kingzone does not have a push coming in. A really, really fortunate turn of events there, as you said, with that Lumberjack.
But this is what we just saw last game. It was Team Queso getting an early lead and the mid-game adjustments of Big Daddy and July to take it back.
And this is interesting. These guys are running. I mean, it's just basically Royal Giants back and forth, and they don't seem to want to change things up. They probably just want to change the way in which they play the Royal Giants.
Now that lightning did a lot of damage, but not quite enough to stop the baby dragons. The tornado has to come in to support as well. Although now it is King's Own Dragon X taking the lead, but do they have enough to defend this Royal Giant push in the opposite direction?
And that Lumberjack is going to do its job, raging everything up.
And also, look, the guard picking up the first shot from the Inferno Tower. Can that Royal Giant get one on that left-hand side? Yes, it does. Down to 758 as we are 30 seconds away from sudden death.
Yes, and this is where it becomes really, really dangerous, Rich, with that spell cycle. You feel it, right? It's taunting you. You want to start throwing spells down, but you have to make sure you're getting value.
And the tornado does enough to stop. And that's a beautiful bit of spell value there from that fireball, just as you said it, Andrew.
Absolutely. You got to stay patient like that. And the same thing with King's Own Dragon X. Seeing that tombstone come down, now they have a way to play that poison without just a negative elixir trade.
And the guard's not able to get through in front of those lumberjacks, and that lumberjack did take care of the Royal Giant. Now, a little bit coming the opposite direction, but right now it feels like Team Queso might have the momentum.
It is neck and neck. Get the lightning and the fireball down. There it is.
That is it. Team Queso takes game number 3 of 2v2.
And that is it. Game number 3 down. First set goes to Team Queso in the European Championships. These are the European champions, excuse me. These guys do not really know what it feels like to lose, honestly.
Yeah, they have just been on fire all season, and opt to finish that 2v2 set with some more fire in that fireball, closing things out, and that was really a masterful performance from Cuchii Cuu and Beniju.
And you love that quick recognition, right? You see all of a sudden it's right there in spell range. Ignore